Start with some politics, where the opposition NDC is warning party members who intend to contest for various positions to be mindful of their actions or risk being sanctioned. The party says it is aware of acts by some members which aim to create an unequal playing field for sitting members of parliament. The NDC, since its defeat in the 2016 polls, has been engaged in reorganization efforts that have seen a post-election review committee make recommendations to the party. General Secretary Johnson Yesidu told a news conference on Thursday members need to be mindful of their conduct lest they jeopardize the party's reorganization.
We have every reason to be very confident that next year, 2018, they will raise the image of the party even higher to galvanize the party towards a massive victory in 2020. The party is aware that even as they spend time undertaking these onerous and difficult assignments in parliaments, individuals within the constituencies have already taken advantage of their absence from the constituencies to undermine them with the hope of unseating them in 2020. I wish, on behalf of the party, to indicate that as far as we accept the right of every NDC member to aspire to any positions of the party, including that of member of parliament, we also believe that democracy can only be meaningful when the playing field is even and the rules of the game are transparent and applicable to all equally. It is on this note that we send a note of caution to all aspirants at all levels to refrain from any acts or conduct calculated to undermine our sitting members of parliament before the season for campaigning is formally opened. Any evidence of breach of this directive may count in the evaluation of the eligibility of candidates when nominations are eventually opened. Ladies and gentlemen, in the wake of the party's defeat at the 2016 polls, the leadership found it necessary to allow for ventilation of anger and frustration from the rank and file of the party as part of the healing process. This is known in psychology as catharsis. When you suffer some trauma, there must be opportunity for you to do some self-expression that will ease the pent-up feelings and then to heal your soul. We believe that 1 year is long enough for that exercise. Therefore, certain acts of indiscipline were deliberately ignored if they were not of such magnitude as to create major problems for us. We deliberately ignored many of those things. We wish to remind the party that as an indisciplined army cannot win any war, so it is that a political party aiming to recapture power must demonstrate discipline in order to position itself as a credible alternative government in waiting.
The party also announced its Congress to elect national executives will take place in September 2018.
We expect that the compiled details about the timelines about when the raw register will be ready and when it will be validated and all that will be sent to the constituencies. But the deadline for a completed register is 28th of February 2018. So we want to appeal through you to our members throughout the country to take this opportunity to register. We do not want to accept a situation where everybody will be waiting till the final day and they will be calling for extension for the registration period and so on. Time is not on our side. and we are beginning the year 2018 with strict discipline. And strict discipline also means adherence to term lines. We hope that after the register has been finalized, we will then give the go-ahead for branch elections to begin throughout the country. And
also, the pro-New Patriotic Party vigilante group Invincible Forces is accused of assaulting two journalists from TV3 and Ghana Web. The journalists had gone there to report on a protest at the party's headquarters by some constituency executive from the Elembele constituency of the Western region over what they say are attempts by the regional and national chairman to disenfranchise them. A Ghana Web journalist, Jonah Eledi, who witnessed the attack on his camera technician, spoke with Joy News.
We were at an assignment when I heard about what was going on at the NPP head office. And so my cameraman and I rushed to the scene to see what was going on. And then just before we got there, realized that there was some form of commotion and you could hear the noise from afar. So we quickly set up inside the taxi, the car we were moving in, so that as soon as we get down, we'll start shooting what was going on. So we got down and then my cameraman began to shoot and then getting closer to the place. Then some three guys just approached him, and then before he realized, one guy had just hit him in the face. And then, you know, he fell down. They took the camera from him and were requesting to take my phones away because they suspected that he had probably taken some pictures or videos with my phone. Then they picked up my cameraman and requested, in fact, they insisted we deleted every visual on the camera. One was even suggesting that they hit it on the ground because they were struggling to even operate the camera that we were using.
One of the aggrieved protesters who spoke to Joy News vowed to resist all attempts by the regional and national chairman to disenfranchise them.
Books have been sent to the constituency, to be sent to the polling stations for us to populate the register. The constituency chairman has kept these books under his armpit and has printed out some A4 sheets and sent some guys out there to go and pick names and bring to him to populate at his whims and caprices who he wishes to be in the book. Wow. That is exactly what it is. If not, why are you keeping the book with you? And I've sent people with the A4 sheet outside. What is the A4 for? Based on what instructions? You don't determine who comes. Each of us shared his little blood in ensuring the victory.
They've also vowed to, quote, teach the national chairman Freddie Blay a bitter lesson, unquote, at the upcoming internal elections.
Away from politics, the driver of a Nissan SUV on Thursday suffered severe injuries after his vehicle somersaulted and ended up in a storm drain during an attempt to avoid crashing into a motorbike that was on the road. There was no casualty in the accident, which occurred at Labone Junction on the Ring Road here in Accra. Joy News spoke with a witness and one of the victims.
The two motor riders were in between this thing. So immediately, one crossed in front of him. It swerved in front of him. So he just applied brake and was trying to swerve. And he was also on a top speed. So he hit my back. I'm the one driving the Honda. So I was the first person he hit. This man, he was on the top speed. He could have applied brake because the time the motor crossed him, he could have applied brake and slowed down. But the way he was on speed, you couldn't do anything.
Okay, have you recorded any casualty in this?
No, only the driver of this.
Saw everything after
the driver of this car. He is the one who got injury.
Tell us what happened when you were here. You saw everything.
I was behind this black car. What I saw was the car was in front of me, and then when they got to the Labone Junction, so they saw the man saw a motorbike in front of him, and he was trying to swap the motorbike because he was on top speed. He wanted to swap the motorbike as he went to the other lane, he got crashed with another car, and he was trying to come back into his lane, and it couldn't work. This man was also in the lane, so he tried to maneuver. The way it somersaulted, actually, I cannot explain it.
So, from your own angle, who caused it? How come? I mean, this...
The way I saw it, it could have been, I may say, is the cost of the motorbike. Because they were making a negotiation towards this side, and then when they did that, there was no sign. They crossed in front of the man, the one with the black car. They crossed in front of him, and he was trying to maneuver and pass beside them, and then he went through that and hit another car, and it resulted into the somersault. It actually didn't affect me because I was behind them. So when I saw that, I have to apply brake, so I was behind. So I couldn't go close to it. When I saw the car was, maneuvering, trying to get to a place to stop, but the speed was high. So he somersaulted. The only person I saw we pulled out of the car was the driver. And he had some cuts on the hands and the leg. So immediately we gave him water and we rushed him to the hospital.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead, minority in parliament raises red flags over government's decision to spend 100 million cedis on renovation of the Flagstaff House and 3 other presidential properties.
100 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of renovating Flagstaff House and Pediatric Lodge. The Speaker, this is equivalent to 22 million Ghana cedis, 22 million US dollars for Flagstaff House and Pediatric Lodge. The Speaker, it's unacceptable.
It comes evening as a controversy rages over budgetary allocations to the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives, including 800,000 cedis for the building of its website. We have those details coming up. Stay tuned. Now, the minority in parliament is raising red flags over what it says is government's plan to spend 100 million cedis to renovate the Flagstaff House and 3 other presidential properties. Minority spokesperson on finance, Kassel Atofosing, described the expenditure as wasteful and one which deprives the state of resources to finance other major projects.
You have to look at the capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. The Speaker, let me take you to the same paragraph, page 8. Page 8, Office of the Chief of Staff. The Speaker, we were told that 100 million Ghana cedis was allocated for the purposes of capital expenditure under the Office of the Chief of Staff. The Speaker, last year, the same thing happened. We were told that the Chief of Staff's office is going to hold 100 million Ghana cedis, and then apparently they will distribute it for other MDAs. The Speaker, we ended the year at the committee meeting. All of them complained that they could not raise even a cedi. The Speaker, and the committee report testifies to this. The Speaker, the strange thing is that this 100 million, we were told that they are going to use it for the purposes of renovating the Flagstaff House and Pediatric Lodge. 100 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of renovating Flagstaff House and Pediatric Lodge. The Speaker, this is equivalent to 22 million Ghana cedis, 22 million US dollars for Flagstaff House and Pediatric Lodge. The Speaker, it's unacceptable.
But Deputy Majority Whip in Parliament, Matthew Yindam, is disputing the figure.
It's factually inaccurate, another factual inaccurate perpetuated by my good friend Atofosing. You see, if you take a look at the report, and I'm sure you should have it, it is true that straight away, it is about 100 million. Are you getting me? But there are sectors, all other sectors. If you look at all other sectors, they have not been given anything under KPS. None of them. And they are all, look, Vice President Office, no KPS. Cabinet Secretariat, no KPS. Press Secretary, no KPS. Millennium Development Authority, you lie all of them. And they are all supposed to source their KPS under this 100 million.
So why wasn't it stated explicitly in this document as such with the necessary breakdown rather than to then leave it all to the office of the chief of staff?
No, you see, the head of the presidency is the chief of staff. And she regulates and makes sure that at the end of the day, whatever you are bringing is justifiable before delivery. So we didn't want to spread like this is you have it under you and you can spend it at any point in time. No. They should try as much as possible to read and tell the people the truth.
Now we'll be bringing a lot more from Parliament, including the issue having to do the controversy over the budgetary allocations to the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives. But right now, for a lot of people, Christmas will be fun only when they have some money in the pocket. And that means business must be good. But for fishermen at Nyinyano in the central region, the depletion of the sea is turning out to be a big threat to a joyful Christmas. Joining us, Joseph Akabile was in the community and has come through with this report.
Fishermen at Nyinyano celebrate Christmas in the most unique way. They go fishing in a grand style. But this year's grand ride may not be with much excitement, as some fishermen say they couldn't catch a lot of fish this year.
We will all agree that the sea is important. Another thing we'll agree on is the fact that no group of individuals will love the sea more than the fisher folk who daily basis ply their trade as fishermen right here at the coast. I am at Nyinyano to gauge the mood ahead of Christmas and, more importantly, try and understand how they celebrate Christmas.
Wiabu is one of the fishermen here. For 10 years, he has spent every Christmas day on the sea, fishing, a tradition rooted in his ancestry. He leans on his canoe as he laughs at others struggling to push their canoes back to shore. I joined them in an attempt to help.
I've been in this trade for 10 years. I started with my hand and later got an outboard motor, enabling me to use the boat. I've been at it since then. The sea gives us so much money. There are periods where we get so much. Sometimes we get little. Proud to Christmas, we buy a lot of things. We celebrate on the sea. At about 12, we have an attire we wear. Our leaders settle on it. We wear it and go to sea, move around and just come back. We change if we have another attire and go riding again. That is how we celebrate Christmas. We go alone. We give our wives some. They wait for us and pour powder on us when we return. It signals that the year has ended. Our children receive gifts from us. Things don't look well for this year's Christmas. Only few people are buying things. It's very tough.
The water is a bit cold. It's early morning and can't be imagined. But the canoes will be very busy come Christmas Day. But not all fisher folk look forward to this year's Christmas with much anticipation. For good reasons. They feel the fishing season has not been as fruitful as the other years has been. One of such individuals tells me why he doesn't look forward to this year's celebration and that revered tradition with much excitement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
First, tell me, what's your name?
My name is Emmanuel Nimkwekoti, but always people call me Tolo.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm like 40 years now.
And you're a fisherman?
I'm a full fisherman.
How many years have you been engaged in fishing?
Since I was born.
I was engaging some of your colleagues, and they were telling me that in the past you guys have a bit of a tradition of a sort, such that in the mornings of Christmas Day?
Let me help you. That's the secondary matter, because when you get money, you can do anything you like. Anything you want to do, you can do it. Now, where's the money? People who told you that, ask them how much they have. How much they have? They don't have nothing. How can you celebrate Christmas?
So you'll not be participating in that tradition?
We won't do it. This town, over years, they didn't celebrate their festival. October 23rd, they started their festival. So now, normally we use Christmas as their festival, but now they change it. So when we get money, we can use to celebrate. That's why I'm saying that the sea, we get money from the sea has polluted. So we can't get money, fish to sell and get money to celebrate Christmas.
Children love Christmas. School is on vacation and they play football close to the sea. They share with me their fond memories of Christmas at the coast. Like the adults, they don't want to miss the revered tradition, the Grand Ride. They go out with the canoe and move all around. It's very nice. It is very nice when they do it. Sometimes they use firecrackers. I want them to do same this year.
I'm not very sure of which manner my celebration of Christmas will be taken, but at least I have an idea of how residents of the coastal town of Nyanyano in the central region will mark the festive occasion. Reporting for Joy News from Nyanyano, my name is Joseph Akable.
We bring you business news. Next then, coming up in business, leading producer of local rice in Ghana denies lack of interest in local brands for Christmas as speculated by dealers, rice dealers, and says they are rather overwhelmed by the high demand. Emmanuel Abaduriafi will be here with the business news.
Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to the business segment. The Christmas season is here with us, and with the usual purchases for the popular staple rice. It's indeed a period when the nation can increase its sale of rice. But unfortunately, this is not the case. With Ghana currently importing significant amount of rice, there still lies a big gap for local producers to fill, especially the Made in Ghana campaign. As the Made in Ghana campaign goes on, Charles Aite has been exploring the rice business.
In this holiday season, one of the major staples that many Ghanaians across the country are going to be cashing into, both customers and of course that of buyers, is that of rice. Rice, and of course its consumption in Ghana is one of the highest across the West African region. By the midst of this high demand for rice, there comes the question about the consumption of locally produced rice here in the country. Ghana is currently facing the challenge of cutting down on the country's rice imports as efforts are being made to focus on production locally. Statistics indicate that a total of about 754,000 metric tons of rice was imported into the country in 2015 and 16 alone. It is believed that the numbers might even be higher because of smuggling, which is not accounted for. So what is the current situation on the ground, especially in this holiday season? Some rice dealers told Joy Business that local rice is virtually not available on the market now because of consumer preference for imported brands.
It's expensive, and most people do want the popular rice.
So that's why you don't even want to sell local rice?
Yeah.
Right, so do you sell local rice in this very shop?
No, we don't. We don't sell local rice.
And what's the main reason for that?
Okay, I don't know, but I think the customers don't prefer that one. No, we have, a particular customer base, and then they have particular rice they buy, so we don't normally sell rice that don't sell. Do you understand? Yeah, that is why we don't have local rice here.
We also caught up with some consumers who shared their views on whether or not they prefer local rice to imported ones.
For me, I prefer the local rice because the foreign rice, I don't see any taste of the foreign rice, but the local rice, the taste is okay.
Do you prefer local rice to the foreign one?
Okay, actually, I have not taken local rice before, so I don't know. But to my perspective, I think local rice will also be okay, but because of low patronage of these locally made products and how it is even packaged and how it is even marketed. You know, people don't fancy, but you see these foreign rice always on our TVs, and we have the samples around too. So I think if local rice, they rebrand and then repackage and do everything like that, people will start buying it. And the price too, you know, these foreign rice, they have a way of making the rice more, you know, priceable for people to buy. But you know, local rice maybe sometimes it's more costly.
Oh, I like foreign rice.
Why?
Oh, because that one is very nice.
So why don't you like local?
Oh, the local rice now is not in the system and they don't buy that one. So everyone wants the foreign rice. So we too, we like the foreign rice.
So when you're going out to buy rice, what do you look out for, local or foreign?
Oh, the foreign one. Perfume rice. That one, the
Joy Business later interacted with the head of marketing at Wenco Ghana Limited, a leading producer of local rice in Ghana. Dominic Duku shares a different opinion about the low patronage of local rice. According to him, his company has been overwhelmed with high demands by customers this holiday season.
Yes, indeed. There was a perception of produce in Ghana being of low quality in terms of the color, and sometimes you have stones in them. But now the modern machinery that Wenco Ghana has brought, and you realize that the standard is at par with what's imported. So we're producing high quality. So after people have tried, they now realize that, well, indeed, it's good to stick to made in Ghana.
Some of the existing challenges faced by local rice producers include poor packaging or bagging, the high cost of products, among others. But Dominic Duku believes much has changed in the past years.
The packaging is one of the key issues here. And you're right. If you look at the imported rice that we see, the packaging, it follows one trend. And Wenco Ghana and Aduane Hene and copper rice, if you look at our packaging, it's premium. A lot more of produce in Ghana, a lot more people too are coming on board and following our footsteps in terms of how they should present it in the market.
Government may have to step up efforts in addressing these challenges in the Planting for Food and Jobs program. For Joy Business, Charles Aite reporting.
Construction of an ultra-modern cement manufacturing plant to produce about 1 million tons of cement is expected in March 2018. The development is expected to boost production and supply of cement for consumers in the country, as well as generating competitive pricing and enhance competition in the market. Joy Business Ebenezer Sabute has been engaging managers of the new cement company Supercem Ghana Limited and has filed the following reports.
With the vision of being the premium brand providing the most valuable cement-related solutions to Ghanaian builders by 2020, Supercem promises to deliver quality products for the Ghanaian market. The company currently imports finished cement from Nigeria, a situation which will end by next year when work on its manufacturing plant is completed. Managing Director Frederick Abret has been explaining the rationale.
So we decided together that it would be a good opportunity to come and to set up in Ghana. We see a need as well as construction is changing, and there is more and more needs for quality cement, best practice in the industry. So therefore we think we have our way to pave into the Ghanaian market. That's the reason why we came to Ghana. Ghana is only at the beginning of its needs. The consumption per capita in Ghana is still one of the highest in West Africa, with 200 kilo per capita, but it's still far less than what we can observe in North African countries. Therefore, there is still a good way for development. This factory is here and is set up for the next 50 years, 100 years. So we are here for a long period. We are believing in this country. We are believing in the development of the country, and that's why we think we have our way into the Ghanaian market, and we can bring a plus to the market.
When we come to local consumption, local content, i.e. materials or even the people you employ, what is the plan? At what rate can we say this company have been when it comes to the people they employ, maybe 60, 70, when it comes to the materials, the raw materials they are going to use in producing the cement, 60, 70, or what was the plan?
Let's say, in generally speaking, it's much more affordable and it's making us much more competitive to source all our raw material locally. Unfortunately, there is no manufacturing of clinker in the country. Therefore, we will still be relying on an importation part. But of course, all the additives that we will be able to source locally, we will be willing to source it for various reasons. First is also a cost. It will be much less expensive to source locally a product than to import it. Also, regarding the employments, we are looking at sourcing. You have a lot of education in Ghana is very good. You have a lot of very qualified workers, a lot of very qualified people which can be used. So we are looking at having 95% of local people working for us.
What will this mean to consumers and the general public? Kobe Adams is the commercial director at Super.
I think it's extremely important to the cement market in Ghana for one very big reason, which is the quality that we bring to the market. Now, I mentioned a stat that we've done some research on earlier, which is that we've talked to several hundred masons since we started our operation about 4 months ago, and the numbers are pretty clear. About 55% of masons say that the SuperSem cement they've used is superior to anything that they've experienced prior to using it.
With a reliable infrastructure, SuperSem says it is poised to deliver on its promise of providing the most quality cement for the construction industry. Of course, this does not come easily without a significant investment. Let's hear from the project leader, Abderrahim Ohab.
The availability of the network of the power here in Tema, in the free zone, is 99%. For the moment, we have the temporary connection, and we haven't any shutdown of this. For the backup, we have the power plant equipped with 3 generators. Each one is 6 kVA. 600 kVA. In totally, we have 1,600 kVA.
Even though located within the Free Zones enclave, the company is not operating under the Ghana Free Zones law. So in a couple of months, we are going to have this huge plant being commissioned here. And basically what it means is that more cement into the market, more quality cement products into the market. Ask me the meaning of this. It means the prices are going to change, the quality is also going to change, because this plant is going to give us about 600 to 700,000 tons of cement annually. And that's a huge quantity if you ask me. Why this? This is an investment by a Ghanaian SuperSem, CBI Ghana Limited. They are going to be producing locally. They are going to produce for only the Ghanaian market. Currently, they import from Nigeria, but in a couple of months, they are going to produce everything here in Ghana. This means we are focusing on local content. The people here are locals. The workers here are locals, 90%. And I can assure you, everything is local. This is time to purchase local goods. This is time to focus on buying local materials for your building, for infrastructure, and any other service that you'll be doing with cement. From the Free Zones enclave here at Tema, I'm Ebenezer Sabuti for Joy Business.
That's all in business. Many thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Apoachi. Have a good evening.
Parliament is calling on the Chief Justice Committee hearing impeachment claims against the Electoral Commission boss to expedite its work so the officials involved could, where exonerated, refocus on their core mandate as soon as possible. The 5-member committee is investigating allegations of corruption against Madam Charlotte Osei and 2 of her deputies. The MP say it is important for the issue to be settled quickly, as 2018 will be a busy year for the Commission.
Along the line, I believe that there will be electoral reforms, some demanded by political parties, others requested by civil society groups, to improve the integrity and credibility of our elections. Undoubtedly today, as we speak, there is a matter which the President has referred to the Chief Justice of the Republic, which is being handled. We expect that it to be handled expeditiously so that there will be focus in terms of the delivery of their core mandate, while looking into the issues which have been raised. The Speaker, it is also important to reiterate the point that the Minority Leader raised, that the matter hanging at the EC should be dealt with expeditiously in order to ensure some predictability in the system, so that in September, October, when we envisage that it may become necessary for the referenda that we are talking about to be conducted, the Commission will be going there not in pieces, but in one piece.
Now, the minority in Parliament is calling on President Akufo-Addo to collapse the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives, claiming it has become a vehicle for corruption. There's been outrage over revelations that the ministry intends to spend 800,000 cedis on developing its website, 10 million cedis on 24-wheel drive vehicles, and 6.5 million cedis on furniture, among others. The ministry has budgeted to build a 6-unit classroom block at 770,000 cedis and 132,000 cedis on each borehole, which analysts say are outrageous. Minority spokesperson on finance, Kassel Atufosing, says the ministry is an unnecessary one.
On the Special Development Initiative Ministry, I've already appealed, and I'm appealing to the President that he should stop this. He should stop this. Mr. President, that does not augur well for your administration. That Special Development Initiative Ministry, what is going out there isn't good. Please stop this.
Is it about time the ministry was scrapped?
You see the ministry perform saying that they are going to spend about 3 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of legal service. What is the AG doing? What is the Office of the Attorney General doing? You are saying they are going to do accounting services. What is the Office of the Ministry of Finance doing? And you are going to allocate all of this just to give money to people. Blatant corruption.
Shouldn't exist, you think? The ministry shouldn't.
I mean, it's just duplication of functions. If they are going to build dugout, what is the Ministry of Agriculture doing? If you are saying you are going to build hospitals and buy ambulance, what is the Ministry of Health? Let me be blunt with you now. Okay, can you tell me and confirm to me that the minister responsible for special initiative has the requisite expertise to inspect a good ambulance? Does she? And her office, do they have that? It's only Ministry of Health. Look, if you ask me to go and inspect what is in an ambulance, what am I going to inspect? Am I going to inspect inflation or monetary policy in an ambulance? Am I going to inspect budget overruns or fiscal overruns? I can't. I don't have the expertise, and I cannot pretend to be that. So please, Mr. President, don't let your ministers pretend to be what they are not. Allow the sector ministries to do their work. Allow the expertise. We've spent millions of Ghana cedis, taxpayers' money, to build institutions in this country. Do not collapse those institutions. Allow them to work.
The Deputy Minority Whip in Parliament, Mantu Nyindam, however, says there's nothing wrong with the figures.
I don't agree with them. You see, another issue we have to look at. You see, the special initiative is supposed to be bridging the gap between the South and then the North, mainly. And this special initiative is supposed to also be to coordinate the center of affairs between the authorities that we've passed. The $1 million, if you take the policy that we are talking about, every constituency should be given $1 million. 70% of that $1 million is supposed to be administered by the special initiative, the ministry. 30% is going for the local priority, that is every constituency priority. Now, if you take about the classroom block that they talked about 700,000 Ghana cedis, and I heard my friend Jinapo quoting yesterday that Nana Addo referred to John Mahama as being corrupt because a classroom block, 6 classroom block was about 550,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, he still remains corrupt. John Mahama still remains corrupt because that figure still remains, because I know that if you go to Get Fund today, a 6 classroom block is cost as 450,000 Ghana cedis. Today, go there and verify. It's 450,000 Ghana cedis, far less than what John Dramani Mahama was doing. But if you read the report of the special initiative, they are talking about 6 classroom block and what is that? An ICT center, which we all know that to build an ICT center, it takes money. Computers and everything have to be provided. It's not just building the room. So if you add up the 6 classroom block with the ICT center, obviously it wouldn't cost less than 700,000.
The Central Region Police Commanders began impounding motorcycles and vehicles they deem unfit to be plying the roads and which could be used for criminal activities in Cape Coast this Yuletide. Regional Police Commander COP David Nenyi Ampa-Benin says his men would also clamp down on criminals and ensure the region is crime-free during the Christmas and New Year festivities. He assured residents of the Thursday's exercise they have nothing to fear because the police has their backs covered. Richard Kojinyako sent in this report.
The regional commander himself, COP Ampa-Benin, and his deputy, together with other 45 police personnel, invaded certain areas of Cape Coast as part of the promise we gave to the people of this city that we will ensure that they celebrate their Christmas in peace and joy. And also we said all unregistered motorbikes which are parading the city will be apprehended. We will arrest them and the owners will be held as criminals. We also said that all vehicles without the requisite registration numbers will also be stopped and searched for other items that can be used to cause robbery. As a result, today we went to town. We arrested 27 motorbikes of all makes, 7 tricycles, and 5 unregistered vehicles.
Now, the mayor of the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolis has had cause to complain about the sermons preached by some religious bodies, he says, is keeping congregants away from hospital and contributing to a worsening of the city's maternal mortality figures. As of November 2017, 24 women had died giving birth in the metropolis. This, Anthony Sam says, is because of the advice given by church leaders that the female congregants need not attend health facilities for antenatal care. In Athalia Kwanzaa report from the Western region.
The coverage of reproductive and child health services continues to be a challenge in the metropolis. Coverage currently hovers below 55% for antenatal care and 45% for skilled delivery, one of the indicators assessed under the district's league table, which placed the STMA at 184th out of Ghana's 216 districts. The major causes of the maternal mortality are hypertension in pregnancy, bleeding during and after birth due to the lack of enough blood to resuscitate the women, and lack of immediate transport for referrals. Anthony Sam, who was speaking at the third ordinary meeting of the second session of the 7th Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, says the alarming spate of maternal cases recorded by the various health centers in the metropolis is a cause to worry, and was unhappy about what he believes was the negative impact of the religious bodies.
This great this challenge or mistake our mothers, our women are doing is having a great toll on the metropolis. Thus, we have recorded so much post-maternal death. Some of them stem from the fact that some attend churches or groups which their faith teaches them that they should not go in for blood transfusion, or they should not attend clinics. They should just drink water and keep on praying and everything will be okay. So when you get to the 11th hour, before you arrive to the health facility, then the doctor or the medical team has nothing best or better to offer than just to pray to the Almighty God.
He says the Assembly's Metro Health Directorate will early next year engage churches and other religious groups to sensitize them on the need for pregnant women to visit hospitals regularly.
People go through cesarean section and they survive. The mother will be free, the child will be safe. but some churches preach against it. So their members don't go for it, and at the end of the day, we lose both the mother and the unborn child. This is our area of great concern to the metropolis. As a result, the Directorate of the Metropolis Health Directorate has taken it upon itself to draw up a program, and we'll be moving from church to church, radio station to radio station, meeting concerned groups, women groups, and the rest, to further give them education on this, in this direction.
This is Joy News Prime.
Now, the Flagstaff House has cleared the Trades Ministry of any wrongdoing. The alleged payment of $100,000 by some expert trade businesses to have their chief executives seated close to the president or President Akufo-Addo at a recent awards ceremony. The Flagstaff House has issued a statement, whilst the Trades Minister has also issued a statement. Evans Mensah has both statements, and he has joined me in the studio. We'll be going through them in a bit. Thank you very much, Evans, for coming through. But let's first of all recap the story as it is. So it starts off with accusations leveled by the minority, mainly that the Trades Ministry has been involved in some extortion of some expert trades to the tune of $100,000 to get them seated. And then the Trades Ministry came out to deny, or the Deputy Trades Minister came out to deny. It turns out that his denial had some inconsistencies. Once the company or the organization that put together the event came out and held this news conference and says that some monies were paid, and the monies were paid to the financial. Let's briefly recap the story, and then we can look at the state.
So a few blocks. So there was an event, there was an award ceremony for expat businesses in Ghana. The president was in attendance. There was a letter written out to the businesses ahead of time, asking them to pay monies ranging from $15,000 to $100,000, depending on how close they see to the president. The closer you are to the president, the more you pay. So you pay all the way up to $100,000. That generated controversy. The ministry's position was that the monies were charged by the private event organizer, which happens to be the Millennium Excellence Foundation.
Essentially, they said they had nothing to do with it.
We had nothing to do with it.
Organizer
we just wrote a cover letter for them so that they can, sort of get credibility in the eyes of the expert businesses, and they designed the packages. And the monies that were raised, yes, came to our account, but we released everything to them. It turns out when the press conference was held by the event organizer, they say that in fact the agreement stipulated that the Trade Ministry will retain parts of that money, and that in essence it contradicted the Trade Ministry's position that the entire money raised from that particular event had been released to the private entity. That then generated a bit of a heated controversy. In fact, in Parliament, the two main members of Parliament have been on the forefront of pushing this particular agenda. The Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubara, who first raised it last week Friday, and the Minority Spokesperson on Foreign Affairs, Okudzeto Ablakwa, who was on within the precinct of Parliament, granted an interview to journalists when Carlos Ahinkra, who is the Trade Minister, intruded into his space and used unprintable language at him, verbally assaulted him. That is another leg of this, which we now know is going to end up in court, because Okudzeto has indicated to us tonight that he is going to file a defamation suit against the Deputy Minister. But the very latest on the substantive allegations, as you've indicated already, is that the President asked Alan Kyerematen, who is the Trade Minister, to formally write to him at the Flagstaff House, explaining what happened and how they got entangled in this. This was yesterday at 5 p.m. He had a deadline at 5 p.m. yesterday to do that. Today, we got a letter from the President saying he's seen and heard from Alan Kyerematen, and they don't see anything wrong with what had happened. And they provided went into great detail in detailing why they came to that conclusion. So let me read that, because that letter itself, and this letter, two letters came. One signed by the Information Minister, Mustafa Hamid, simply saying to us that the President had seen the response of Alan Kyerematen and doesn't see anything wrong. And so Alan Kyerematen should explain to the public the details that he furnished the President. Now, so we have that statement, and that statement it's also interesting because we also see a few contradictions in there. Now, point 2 says the management and organization of the event were initiated, directed, and coordinated by the event organizer, the Millennium Excellence Foundation, and facilitated by the Ministry of Trade and Industry in line with the commitment to enhance public-private sector collaboration. No problem there. Third one says the structure, form, content, and distribution of the sponsorship package for the event are solely attributable to the event organizers, and the ministry had no role in the design of the said package. For the avoidance of doubt, the letter signed by the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, which has been cited by the media, had no link to the sponsorship package. But the truth is, if you look at that letter, a copy of which we have, and a copy of which I showed and presented, read contents to the Deputy Minister himself who signed it, he admits that letter is his, that he signed the letter. That particular letter, in that letter he says, find an attachment detailing the benefits and the packages that you will get if you sponsor the program. And then that is the document that then details what you get if you pay 100,000 cedis. What you get $100,000 if you pay $100,000. What you get if you pay $15,000. And so that document contradicts this thing that we're just reading here, that the letter he signed had nothing to do with the packages. It did have something to do with the packages, and spelled out the attachment. We detailed exactly that. Now, that is one of the key points. Another point that we saw that was also contradictory, and again, questions have still been raised about this, is the fact that following the event on the ministry collaboration with the event organizer, and this is a very important part. We now know how much they raised from the expats. They raised 2.6 million Ghana cedis from the event, and this statement has that detail. And the statement then argues that because the private organizer organized it, they need to get part of the money so that they can cover their debt. So they've released part of the money to them. And the most important part is, which we've always been talking about, for the avoidance of doubt, none of the individuals, companies who sat with the president at the high table of the event made a contribution of 100,000 prior to the event as being alleged. Indeed, there were persons, companies seated at the presidential high table who did not make any money contribution before or after the event. But yesterday we confirmed with the MD of Japan Motors, who said, yes, to sit at the table, and he sat with the president, he didn't pay anything up front. But when he was invited and he confirmed his participation, he paid an amount to purchase an extra table for the family, for the wife and other board members, etc. So he paid some amount of money. He won't tell us how much. So that in itself raises a few additional questions. But this is another important part, that the event, this again confirms that the ministry retained part of the money. That Alan Chamantin said, ministry retained part of the money.
Which confirms something the Millennium Excellence Foundation has
said, but
the Deputy Trade Minister.
Yes. So clearly the Deputy Trade Minister and the Minister himself are contradicting themselves publicly on that matter. And it raises more questions about doubt. That is why tonight, the minority in Parliament, they've dismissed this as another form of cover-up. And that for them, they are still going to go ahead and raise the thing on the floor of Parliament to get a probe into this matter.
All right, thank you very much, Evan Smith, for bringing us those details. And clearly, we can expect that we'll be having a lot more coming out of this particular story. In other news, health officials in the Ashanti region have begun vaccinating students and staff of Kumasi Academy after an outbreak of H1N1 killed 4 students and resulted in the hospitalization of over 70 others. The exercise comes just a day before the Christmas break and right after the students finished writing the end-of-term examinations. Out of a total of 3,000 students and staff of the school expected to take part in the exercise, 2,680 showed up on the first day. Deputy Regional Director in charge of Public Health, Dr. Kwesi Yeboah-Ewuzi, tells my colleague Ohemi Teria in the following report, the exercise has been successful.
In the Asokore Mampo municipality in the Ashanti region, a few weeks ago, health officials reported of an outbreak of H1N1 epidemic here at this particular school. 4 students were killed, whilst 50 others were hospitalized in 6 hospitals spread across the Kumasi metropolis. Notable amongst them was the KNUST Hospital, Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Menchia, Kumasi South, and then Old Tafo Hospital. Health officials have lived up to expectations. They have lived up to a promise to provide vaccines for teachers and students of Kumasi Academy after they initially provided them with antibiotics.
We believe that this is going to solve the outbreak of the H1N1 in Kumaka.
So how many of the students have we been able to vaccinate today?
We have not yet finished, but we hope to finish all of them. As at now, we have vaccinated about 90% of the students. There are few who are in the other classrooms. When we came, they were still writing their exams, so they are not closed, and we had to wait for them. That's why. As for the students, everybody will receive the vaccine before we leave here.
There were suggestions that because the disease wasn't all that on a large scale, the possibility of you vaccinating the students and the teachers was not even high. So what happened? What brought this change of mind, change of idea?
Oh, during the period we were contemplating, because most of the outbreaks, it depends. Sometimes it may not be so much large scale that you need to do vaccination. Vaccines cost a lot. And then you also look at the epidemic curve. When you say epidemic curve, you look at how the cases were increasing and how they are going down. And if you see that they are going down, then it means the epidemic is over. So WHO, initially because it was high, made plans to order. And the thing was going down. So that's why we said that we were contemplating whether we should do vaccination or not. But while we were waiting, during the period that we were not getting cases, we got one more case from Kumaka, showing that the thing is not over. And therefore, it is the right time to intervene with the vaccines.
So what happens from here after we are done with these vaccines, vaccination here?
Oh, from here, tomorrow, if there are some of the staff and the relatives who could not make it today, we will try. As for the students, we will finish with them. If there are any 1 or 2 students who are also left out for any reason, tomorrow we get a skeleton staff to come and complete them. Then we will want to also vaccinate the health staff in the 4 major hospitals where the students were reporting. As you remember, KNUST had the highest number of students reporting, close to 70 students, and 3 of the nurses even got the flu, who tested positive. We admitted them for some 2-3 days. Because of that, we are going to also vaccinate the health staff.
The 37 military hospital has denied claims by a victim of the atomic gas explosion that the medical facility did not provide him with quality medical care. The 31-year-old phone dealer, Abraham Tete, said he discharged himself from the hospital when he became convinced the health workers had stopped attending to him. But the commander of the hospital, Brigadier General Ejipong Yabua, says that young man's claim is untrue and that the hospital, with the support of government and other donors, provide comprehensive and free medical care for all the victims. He also accused the runaway burn victim of stealing cash before leaving, phones and cash before leaving the ward.
I'm very sorry. In fact, I'm very, very sorry. See this. Very, very sorry. Sorry. At that point, I was not having anything. I wasn't having anything. I'm very sorry to say this. Before I escaped, there's these 2 guys whom I stole their money. Yeah. Because I knew if I come, I'll be buying some medicines and other things. So I took their money. Yeah, and there's this Nigerian guy who used to give me his phone. Sometimes you'll be there, you'll be listening to radio and things. I took that one, and also a phone that looks like iPhone, but it's not the iPhone. Okay, I took it. But after jumping the wall, one fell. Yeah, one of the phones fell inside the yard. Yes, and the remaining one, I took it away.
All right, so that was Abraham Tete, the victim, actually confessing to the crime. Now, Joy News is learning the burned victim, with the help of the National Ambulance Service, has been readmitted at 37 Military Hospital, where doctors are continuing with the treatment process. The officer in charge of the Allied Surgery Ward, Lieutenant Francis Frimpong Otu, says the medical facility spends about 140 cedis on the victim daily.
Tete was not found on the ward 15th December around 04:30 hours. That was when the nurses were sharing the medications. It's time for medications. You can't resist the patient from moving around the corridors of the ward, you understand? So what he informed the nurses was that he wants to just go around the corridors of the ward, just walk about. And it's a form of exercise.
We understand that he's back to the facility, and from 15th December when he left to 19th December that he came back. Tell us, I'm sure you've seen his condition right now. What's his condition?
Yes, I would say the condition is the worst, and that compelled him to come back because we are spending about 140 cedis a day on the dressing, buying Vaseline gauze, bandages, sterilized. It's not easy. So no other facility will be able to do this free unless 37. So I'm sure this is what compelled him to come back. He came to your end because he just want an excuse to come back, you understand, because he himself, he was in difficulty. So coming to you is just something, an excuse to say something so that you people will bring him back.
Elsewhere, a 24-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly smuggling a mobile phone into cells for a remand prisoner at the Asim Fosu police station. Ajekose hid the mobile phone in a bowl of rice and beans, popularly called wache, but was arrested after the police officer stirred the food. Here's the suspect explaining his actions were purely humanitarian.
He pleaded with me to bring him a mobile phone, and he advised me not to do that through the police. He therefore asked me to put it in his food, which I did. Upon arrival, however, the police asked me to taste the food. He later took the spoon from me and stirred the food. He then found the phone and subsequently arrested me.
Well, District Police Commander for Asim Fosu, ASP Magnus Reindorf Sam, said the suspect, who was recently granted bail after he was arrested for gambling, will be arraigned before the Asim Fosu District Court immediately to serve as a deterrent.
2 days ago, my men at the counter informed me that a gentleman called Isaac Ose, 21 years old, came to the station to give a remand prisoner in cells food. When the food was examined, it was detected that a technophone was concealed under the food. The food is made up of rice and beans, popularly known as wache. And there he was apprehended, and action has been taken against him. He'll be put before court sooner. Smuggling articles such as mobile phones, blades, knives, hacksaws, blade, and other things, especially mobile phones getting into our cells, interfere with investigation and sometimes also destroy evidence at the scene of crime. So we don't allow those items in our cells. A suspect in there or a remand in there can take advantage of the mobile phone and call his or her cohorts to destroy evidence on the ground. So in this wise, mobile phones and other devices, gadgets getting into ourselves, in fact, interfere with the investigations, and we don't encourage that.
And in the headlines, the minority in Parliament is raising red flags over government's decision to spend 100 million cedis on the renovation of the Flagstaff House and 3 other presidential properties. It comes hitting as a controversy rages over budgetary allocations to the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives, including 800,000 cedis for the building of its website. A pro-New Patriotic Party vigilante group, Invincible Force, is accused of assaulting 2 journalists covering a protest by some members of the governing party. In business, leading producer of Wilco rice in Ghana denies lack of interest in local brands for Christmas, as speculated by some rice dealers, and says they are rather overwhelmed by the high demand.